trying to be nice online. That's why no one's reading your posts. Find out what successful female entrepreneurs do when they write so that they can create powerful content. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to know how to write in a way that really grabs you, gets your attention, and convinces you to work with them? Today, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways that successful female entrepreneurs write and what you can learn from them to improve your own writing for your own business. Hi, I'm Lynn Coleman, and I'm a copywriter and copy coach for life coaches, helping you find the words you need to say what you were born to do so you can help more people. So let's get into those 5 ways. And we're going to start with the most important one of all, which is focus. Successful female entrepreneurs know that they need to focus. They need to focus on specific problems, on specific people, on specific results, and on specific processes to get there. The more specific you are, the easier it is to be successful. Why? Because people like to be helped by an expert. And if you say, I'm the person who solves this problem for this group of people, you are seen more as an expert than somebody who says, I help people live a better life, which is also true. But the more specific we get, the more we can be seen as the expert. And there's another thing happening here too. If you focus on a particular group, then you will learn more and more about this group, what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like, what they're allergic to, what really triggers them, what excites them. And that really helps the way that you communicate with them too. So the first thing you want here is focus. Without that, this isn't going to happen. So before we carry on, you might be dipping your toe in AI right now. You might not be doing it. And we'll be talking about AI later in this episode as well. But if you want to try out AI for yourself in a really simple way, I've got a download for you, in the show notes to help you just get going with AI. Just 3 easy ways to start using AI in your writing. Yeah. Now, later on, I'm going to be explaining why AI should only ever be an assistant. It should never be the only thing you use to write, but it can be an amazing tool. So if you have no experience of AI yet, I would go and grab that download while you can. Right. So we've got focus, number 1. Yeah. So there are other things that are going on here as well. So number 2 is timing. What successful entrepreneurs know is what to say when. It makes no sense to start talking about a sale if somebody's not interested in buying your product. All that does is turn them off. That's like meeting somebody on a first date and they ask you to marry them straight away. Unless you're equally besotted like they are, it's not going to work, is it? You just go, generally, you're going to think creep and get out of there as quickly as possible. And it's not because that person is necessarily a creep, but it's because of the timing. They've asked you way too early. So timing is a really important part of what makes your content stand out, what makes it seem like it's like it's really, really appropriate. So you know what to say when. If you're doing a launch, you know what to talk about when. And you also know what your audience can hear. And by that, I mean, what do they understand? What they don't understand. So you're not using phrases that they will only understand once they've worked with you. Use the things that they understand now. So, for example, I could be talking to you right now about messaging. And if you know what messaging is, you know I'm talking about messaging. If you don't know what messaging is, if I talk about messaging, you think, well, what's she on about? So what I'm doing is talking about what to say when and to who, and talking in more general terms, because that is easier to hear if you don't know the the jargon word for it. Yeah. So we need to make sure that we're using words at the right time so that people can actually hear us. Because the last thing that people want is for us to use words that make them feel stupid because they don't know what they are. Yeah. That just turns people off, turns people away. And we don't want that. And I know that as a life coach, the last thing you want is to make anyone feel small. And this is one of the best ways you can do that, is by using right words at the right time to connect with them. That's really going to help the way that they react to you. Now, another thing that successful entrepreneurs do is they don't overshare. And what is oversharing? Well, it's not the same as you'll hear a lot of contradictory ideas about this. Some people will say it's good to be vulnerable, it's good to be authentic. Yes, but there's also oversharing. So what exactly is the difference? So I think it's this. If you're sharing and you're being vulnerable and authentic, then that's great, as long as you're connecting what you're going through with some kind of a message. If you're doing that, it's great. It's an amazing thing to be doing. It's really helping your people. What doesn't work as well is if you're sharing all of this stuff that you're going through and you're not connecting it to anything. Now, it's fine to say life's a bit tough at the moment, this, that, and the other. That's perfectly fine. But watch out for going into masses of detail about it and not connecting it to any kind of a message, because that's just going to leave an impression that you're not coping. Now, we're human beings. We don't all cope all the time. We go through tough stuff, and everybody gets that. But when they want to hire somebody, they want somebody who's got their shit together, right? So we don't want to be giving people the impression that we're not coping. Now, we can have a bad day, we can have a tough time, and that's all fine. That makes us human. That's the thing that people are talking about when they're talking about show your vulnerability, show your authenticity. But we always need to match it up to some kind of a message, to something that you've learned from that experience that can benefit your audience. If you're not doing that, you're oversharing and you're damaging your business. So we don't want to do that. Right. So that was number 2. The next thing that successful entrepreneurs do when they write is they tell stories. They tell stories all the time. And to be honest, you have dozens of stories probably every day that you could be telling. Stories are so an integral part of how we communicate that we don't even realize they're going on a lot of the time. But literally, there are stories happening all the time. And you'll notice this at the end of the day. If you speak to somebody about your day, you'll tell them stories about things that have happened. And that what successful entrepreneurs realize is those stories are nuggets of gold. What we're doing, just like when we were talking about, sort of things that happen in our lives, we always connect those little stories to something else we want to say. It doesn't need to be very complicated, but there has to be some kind of a connection. So that's what we do. We find stories. We look for stories wherever we are. Back in the day, I did stand-up comedy for a while. And one of the things I was advised to do was to keep a notebook, because somebody said, if you keep a notebook, you'll notice just how many funny things happen throughout the day. Trust me, if you keep a notebook and your focus is on funny things, you will find funny things literally all day long. Crazy, funny things happening all the time, every day. This is how comedians get their material, because they have an eye for the absurd, for the strange, for the weird, all of that stuff. And the same is true of stories. If you have a focus on stories, then you'll start to notice them everywhere. And you might even want to keep a notebook, a story notebook, little little ideas that you want to share. It's a great idea to actually keep a record of all the stories you've got that you could connect up to what you do, because this really, really helps you connect. We've been using stories as human beings for as long as we've been able to communicate. They're our way of warning others. They're our ways of inspiring others. And we literally make brain connections when we listen and watch stories. They are very, very powerful. And successful entrepreneurs know this. And when they write with stories. They do this all the time. Now, this helps make you more relatable as a human being. Yeah. So we've talked about focus and we've talked about timing. They're great for your expert status, but experts aren't necessarily cuddly. You want relatability as well. And this is what stories do for you. They make you more relatable. But again, make sure that if you're telling stories about difficult things in your life, that you always make sure that people know that you got over it, that whatever it was that you've gone through, you've got through it and you're doing something with it. You've been through that process of transformation. Especially for you as a life coach, you're helping people with transformation. Show that you've gone through that journey yourself. That's incredibly powerful. So that was number 3, stories. Then we've got number 4, which is all about power. So this podcast, Conversations About Power, for a reason, because I believe this is the fundamental thing that we need to be able to grow our business, to be able to do things in the way that we want to do them. And one of the things that's really important when you're talking about writing for your business is that you're more afraid of not trying than you are of making mistakes. You write something, it bombs, it happens. It's not a big deal. Sometimes I write a post, I think it's incredible, and it goes nowhere. It's all part of the deal. Sometimes I just trot out a post in 2 minutes, think, is that the best I could do? Gets loads of reactions. You have no control over people's reactions. You have no control over the algorithm. What you do have control over is over yourself and your ability to try and then see what people do with it. You just have to let these things go and see what happens. So power means that you're not afraid to try. It means that you're not hung up on grammar or spelling. You're not sitting looking over your shoulder all the time thinking somebody's going to criticize the way you write. It's okay. I'm actually still connected to my old English teacher, and he sent me a message one day about something I was doing incorrectly in English. Oh, he's right. I wasn't doing it right. But as I explained to him, copywriting is a different sort of writing. It's not about perfection. So yes, he was absolutely right, but it didn't matter. It wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing when you're writing for your business is making a connection and knowing what process you're in, where you're trying to guide people, and how you can do that to your best ability. That's what you need, not perfect grammar, not perfect spelling. And anyway, there are tools that can help you check that, right? You don't need to do all of that yourself anymore. So what these successful entrepreneurs also know is that copywriting is a learnable skill, and they have taken the time to learn it. They know that it isn't something that's taught at school. It isn't something that most people do naturally. It's a learnable skill, and you can develop it, you can learn it, you can grow in it. So they've decided to do that. They've decided to invest in copywriting skills, even if they're not doing copywriting anymore themselves, but they have definitely invested in learning about copywriting skills. So they've done that. They also feel able to say what they think, say what they feel, and they're not beating around the bush. So if you're the kind of person who is very careful in the way you say things, that's going to mean adapting how you communicate to a certain extent, because especially online, you need to be clear. So saying things in an indirect, nice, polite way is not going to help you when it comes to growing your business. So there are challenges there too. And these are things that successful entrepreneurs have learned how to do. It doesn't mean they're nasty. It doesn't mean they're horrible people. It's just they've learned how to communicate in a more direct and clear way. And the other thing that these people can do is they're happy to share the mess that they've been through, the mistakes they've made. It's part of their message. So that's okay. They'll talk about the stuff, the tough stuff, because they know that's the stuff that makes them relatable. And they know that's the stuff that really helps people, especially when you link it to where you can go after that. Showing that change, showing that transformation, talking about it is really powerful. It's a powerful thing for you to do. And it's really powerful for the people watching or listening or reading as well, because it gives them hope. It gives them something to aspire to. So that's what they're doing as well. Right. That was number 4. Number 5. Yeah. These people know good copywriting for their niche. They've dug into it. They know what their people care about. They know what their people are allergic to. They know the words that work. They know the words that don't work. They know the timing. They know all kinds of things about their people. That comes from the focus, right? So when they've got all of that, they know that they're then ready to start using tools and support to help them get faster. So tools are great, like AI, love it to bits, but it can only do so much. It's rubbish in, rubbish out. If you expect it to turn very generic ideas into something amazing, it's not going to happen. So the better the quality that you give it, the better that's going to come out of there. But you do that and AI can really, really help you. But you need to give it great input, and you need to know if what it's giving you is any good or not. If you can't do that, then you've got to be careful with AI, because it can lull you into a sense of false security. Because really what you need then is our copywriting skills, so you know what it is that you're asking it to do. So that's one way you can get support. By all means, use it. Use it for grammar, use it for spelling, all of those things. Ask it for feedback. Is there something I've missed? What have you? That's all great. Use it as a second brain, but it never replaces your brain. Yeah. AI is a sous chef. It's never the chef. So that's one way you can use support. Another way you can use support is by hiring somebody to write for you. And again, don't do this unless you either have no time to do it yourself, or you think you have no ability. And to be honest, I think you probably have way more ability than you realize. But the best way to do this is to know what you want to do, to have a clear idea, and so that you can tell somebody you've hired, this is what I need you to do. Here's the input you need. And then that person can get on with it for you. Yeah. But again, you need to know this stuff first before you can hire somebody to really, really help you. So they were the 5 factors that make a real big difference in your success when you're writing for your business. And if you're interested in finding out more about how you could improve your copywriting skills, or if you already have great copywriting skills and you're looking to hire somebody to help you out, let me know. Contact me on lynn@yourepicbusiness.com, and I will be happy to show you what I have that I could help you up-level your skills so you can help more clients, free up some more time, and enjoy being in business more. Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, why not try out this episode or this one instead and find out more about how power can work for you and your business?